Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. When we are looking at a book, we look at the book. This is the book. So when we look at the book, we are looking at the book. But when we are looking in the mirror, we don't look at the mirror. We look in the mirror. And when we look in the mirror, we don't look what is inside the mirror. We look at ourselves. Is it not? Otherwise, what will happen? If you look at the mirror like you look at the book, you stand up in the morning, put the toothpaste and the brush together, stand before the mirror, do ye, and start applying there. This doesn't happen. Is it not? So there is a basic difference. In the same manner, don't make me hum. So, when we are studying other books, physics, chemistry, mathematics, economics, political science, computer science, languages, in that study we are objective. See? But when it comes to study Bhagavad Gita, we are not studying something outside. Like when we are looking in the mirror, we are not looking either at the mirror or in the mirror, but our attention is on ourselves. Isn't it? Exactly this way, spiritual life means we function outside, but our attention is inside. Normally what happens? Our attention is all the time outside. Like, for the parents, what is spiritual life? What is religious life? Children should do this thing. That is their spiritual life. What is the spiritual life for the mother-in-law? Daughter-in-law should be good. That is spiritual life. See? So, their attention is all the time away from themselves. And when my attention is away from myself, what I will do? I will try to improve the world. This is what most of us get lost in our life. See? Therefore, when we study Bhagavad Gita, you all must have studied a lot, is it not? Say yes, who is going to check it? So, when we study Bhagavad Gita, in that Bhagavad Gita, we have to be subjective in understanding, not only objectively. With this introduction, now let us see our life. Many times it happens, somebody passes in front of us and we don't say hello, and then that person becomes very angry. Okay, you are very arrogant. That day I said hello to you, you did not respond. He said, no man, I really didn't notice that you have gone. No, I have just walked in front of you. Now what is the reason? Eyes may be open, but if the mind is not associated with the eyes, knowledge does not take place, is it not? Like when I am talking to you, like the hippopotamus, you cannot close your ears. Hippos can close their ears. So you cannot close your ears. So you have to hear. And yet, do you listen? What is the reason? Because the ears are somewhere, the mind is somewhere. And then we go and ask the Mahatmas the same question. Maharaji, my mind is very disturbed, what should I do? Whose mind is disturbed? You are disturbed. Then you do take care. It is something like, going and telling somebody, hey, yaar, my wife is terrible monster, what should I do? You do. Mind is yours. You have to mind your mind. Therefore, first principle, when we study Bhagavad Gita, it means that we are working on our mind. See, my glasses are not looking at you. Behind the glasses, there are eyes. My eyes are not looking at you. Behind the eyes, there is a mind. And when the mind is closed, as we sleep, what is sleep when the mind is closed? That time, we have no experience of this world. So where every experience, good or bad, joy or sorrows, loss or gain, where this is happening? See, friends, all this is happening on our mind. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita study means we study Bhagavad Gita but see the result on the quality of our mind. Otherwise, what happens? Like Mahatmas like us, they will go and give lecture. Trividham narakassedam dvaram nashanam kam krodhastatha lobha tasmadetattrayam tyajet. There are 3 gateways to hell. Why 3 gateways to hell? Because there is lot of rush. One is not enough. So, there are 3 gateways to hell. One is desire, kama, krodha, anger, and third, lobha, greed. So, desire, anger, and greed are the gateways to hell. Therefore, reject these 3. So, I as a Mahatma say this thing. And then this boy start playing tabla for no reason. Then I become angry with him. You stop that nonsense. And what I said just now, anger is a gateway to hell, and I become angry. Does it mean study of Bhagavad Gita? No. See, friends, therefore, when we study Bhagavad Gita, the result should be seen in us, in the quality of our life. Otherwise, like you have come for satsang. Now you go home and become angry with your children. See, mothers are those who can become angry with the children for no reason. That's called as mother. So when you become angry, then the children will say, don't you know, Mummy has gone for a Gita satsang, in Gita they teach this thing only, become angry with the children. See, once you have taken a step on the spiritual path, you lose your right to be miserable. See? Now you cannot justify that I am miserable. Now you have taken to this path. Now also those who want to be miserable, they can walk out and be miserable. Now onwards, Bhagavad Gita tells only one principle, that we are not born here to suffer. See? And yet we suffer in life. So what could be the reason? See, this is what, there are 4 approaches given as spiritual path in our Hindu religion. 4 approaches. One pertains to our activities in life. See? We relate ourselves with our elders. We relate ourselves with our age group. We relate ourselves with our youngsters. And we also relate ourselves with the good and bad people in this world. So, first part of our life is our relationship and business that we conduct with the world. That is the first part of our life. The second part of our life is that we come in contact with the world through the instrument of mind. So the second part of the spiritual life is working on the mind and not complaining about the mind. Most of the seekers, they complain about the mind. Don't complain. You find out. See? Complaining is the easiest thing. That's why you know that Hindi cinema song, Dunya banane wale kahe ko dunya banai, just to make you miserable, no other purpose. See, friends. Therefore, second part of the spiritual life pertains to the mind. Then the third part comes. And the third part is Mr. I. The daughter said, iPhone. The son said, iPod. The wife said, iPad. The husband said, I paid. He has to pay through note. So the third problem is Mr. I. And this I is the terrible monster. See? This I is such a virus. You know, there are different types of viruses. H1N1 is a biological virus. Second one is the logical virus, which contaminates your computer system. A logical fallacy is introduced in your software and your program is gone and your laptop hangs up, doesn't do anything. Second type of virus. The third type of virus is ego. It is illogical virus. There is no logic in it. So biological, logical and illogical. This I has to be taken care of. This is the third aspect of the spiritual life which is dealt with in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And the fourth one is, are we going to keep running only or we are going to reach the destination in life? See? Is life only a journey without a destination? So what is the ultimate destination of our life? These are the four basic topics which are dealt with in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Because you want in 1 hour the whole Bhagavad Gita, it is something like fix the Indian Ocean in a test tube. So we will take only one. Here I got 3 talks, isn't it? One by? No, not here. I am talking about South Africa. 3 talks, right? 3. So we will take one topic here and remaining 2 in other places. Those who want to get confused, you can come there. So, first topic we will take. When we are living in this world, or whatever we do in this world, where is our attention? First topic. See? Like I am talking to you. Now, where is my attention? Is my attention on you, or attention is on me, I am giving a lecture, or attention is on the quality of my mind? 3 places. Now if my attention is on you, what will be the result of my talk I will think of? I will think of that after my lecture is over, you will all become wise. And it will not happen. Net result, I will be frustrated. This is exactly what happens with all the parents. See? They imagine, my children should be like this, my children should be like this thing. See, they have their own life to suffer. Why you suffer because of them? See? But we are all the time worried only about that. See? Therefore, friends, when we are functioning in this world, whatever we have to do your best and relax. Don't carry the tension. But our spiritual life is like this. One mother came in the morning to me and said, Swamiji, the world is very bad. I said, look here, I have not created, don't complain. Go to bed. It's very bad. Do you know why the world is very bad? I said, no, because I don't accept the world is bad. No, the world is very bad is because my neighbor came in the morning and gave me sweets. I said, you must be diabetic then. Because when somebody gives you a sweet and you are angry, you must be diabetic. No, her son stood in merit list in the high school and she came and gave me sweets. I said, Mama, either you are crazy or I am crazy. Where is being bad in that? If my son will come in merit, I will definitely distribute sweets to my neighbor. What is wrong in that? You don't know. That is why you are Swami. This is what people tell us. All those who are unfit for everything, they are fit for Swami. I said, okay. Then he said, she did not give sweets because her son stood in merit, but because my son failed 4 times. What ladies can think, even Brahmaji cannot think. Ladies' thinking capacity is beyond limits. I said, Mama, why do you say like that? That she has given you the sweet because your son failed. No, you don't know. She wanted to cut my nose. Hare Ram. And then the question. After this complaint is done, then the question. Swamiji, why other people's children come in merit and why my son failed 4 times? Misery begins. Then I asked her, I said, Mama, if you plant a imli ka ped, will you get mangoes? So she said, I don't understand what you are talking about. I said, very good. Friends, this is not spiritual life. When you are bringing up your children, that time your motherhood, fatherhood is fulfilled. That's it. See? When the kids are up to the age of 5 or 6 maximum, love them, cuddle them, hug them, play with them, spend lot and lot physical proximity. That brings a bond between the mother and the child or the father and the child. Then from the age of 7 to the age of 13, deal with them discipline, values, etc. And when they are 13 years of age, up to the age of 19, give them ambition, abilities, success, struggle, achievement, goal. And when one day you want to go out somewhere for a huge special dinner in a 5-star hotel, so you have purchased a new shoe to match with that, and when you go, your shoe has disappeared. Then you shout at your wife, where my shoe has gone? Then your wife tells you, your son must have put on and gone out. So that day when your shoe number and the number of shoe of your son is equal, stop dealing with them as a baby, but be friendly with them. But we, Indians, we think, children are only children. One old lady's 98 not out complained. Swamiji, my children don't listen to me. I said, call them, I'll scold them. So she called. Number 1, 2, 3, all of them came. The eldest one was a grandfather. When she is 98, her children will not be 3 years, 4 years. See, even if it is a 10th marriage. And her complaint is, Swamiji, they don't listen to me. Now you imagine, they have their life. Don't get involved beyond limits in anybody's life. See, in most other places we come across this kissa bahu ka. See, this is the main reason. When a daughter-in-law comes at home, she should feel that this is my house and not my mother-in-law's house. Then the mother-in-law is successful. See? But we keep on holding, Mera beta, naturally it is your child. Now he got married, now he will be attracted towards her, not you, oldie. But we refuse to understand and make our life miserable. See? Therefore, first principle in karma, that when you are functioning, don't focus attention on the world. World is beautiful. Second thing, we have to focus attention. Second thing we do is focus attention on I. I have done so much for him. 9 months I carried him in my stomach to see this there. You should have carried on the back. Please remember, children do not need parents. It is the parents who need the children. Remember this basic principle. Then you will never be miserable in life. And when we don't understand this thing, we become miserable on every small issue. I have done so much for him. Nobody does anything for anybody. Remember one principle if you want to be happy, according to Bhagavad Gita. Whatever we do, it is our need. The world does not need us. See? When we were not in this world, there was nothing lacking. When we will leave this world, there will be nothing lacking. If you don't believe, leave. So, our arrival and departure, when it is meaningless, do you think our presence is meaningful? It cannot be. And yet, ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate, Bhagavad Gita says, ahankara vimudhatma. The one deluded under this virus of I, he starts thinking, I have done this, I have done this thing. Bhagavad Gita tells us, discover freedom from I. Don't struggle for freedom, for I. See? As a husband, you can never be happy. And if you want to be happy as a husband, you will become more miserable. See? Then what is to be done? Play the role of husband. You are not 24/7 husband. See? When you are in the office and before your subordinate, stand there and roar like a lion. But when you come home before the wife, become a cat. But we are unable to understand that we all have to play different roles in our life. See? Sometimes you are brother, father, mother, sister, husband, wife, in-law, outlaw. Play your roles. But don't carry the burden on your head all the time. See? This is what in the second chapter Gita says, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भुः मा ते संघः अस्तु अकर्मणि. So we all have freedom only to do our job. See friends, and this principle you understand, you understood Bhagavad Gita clearly. Very simple principle. Do we have an option to live yesterday or tomorrow? We have no option. We have to live only now. We have no option. Second thing, can we do any action yesterday or tomorrow? No. We can do action always in the present. Clear? Then third, if at the time of doing your action, if you express happiness, meaning whatever you do to express happiness, not to get happiness. What will happen? Every action that you do to express happiness, you will be always happy. Remaining always happy is the creed of Bhagavad Gita. And this is possible only when we are in the utter present. And remaining in the present is a natural condition. See? Going in the past, you have to struggle. You have to remember something. Is it not? You know, one person asked me this question, Swamiji, what is the secret of your happiness? I said, I enjoy the world, particularly when it's an old couple. Old couple you enjoy? I said, yes. How come? When the old couple is there, he may be about 80 and she may be about 78, then you will see their talk. It is such an entertainment. You ask, Babuji, during your childhood, was there something called as honeymoon, etc.? Then he said, yes, we had gone in 1914 to Shimla. When he will say like that, do you think the wife will keep quiet? In old days, wife has to find out faults of the husband at every full stop and comma. So she will say, what is 1914? We were not even married that time. Maybe you married someone else. And then he will say, no, it was 14 only. I still remember, it was 1914 in the month of February. And their fighting begins. Whether it's February or 14 or what and all that. Whenever you go away from the present, be attentive. Whenever you go away from the present, you have to struggle. And whenever you struggle, you are not normal. When you are normal, does breathing becomes a problem? Normally we breathe. We don't even know that we are breathing. But if there is asthma, you know asthma? Saas means, saas chad gayi. The mother-in-law has climbed. So asthma is a grandmother-in-law. So when we have asthma, that time we have to put effort and we struggle, is it not? Because it's not normal. So whenever we struggle in life, we go away from the present. Similarly, if we are functioning in this world, whatever we are doing, Keep this principle in life. It is our need what we do. The world doesn't need us. If it is our need, then why we are doing anything? Only for one thing, and that is for time pass. Don't have a huge goal in your life, God realization. What will you do thereafter? See, don't get lost into that. Every moment we are here only for expressing joy through every action, through every word, through every thought. And when we thus become the distributor of this inherent joy that we have understood the message of Bhagavad Gita. In the second chapter, Bhagavan, the Sanjay tells, when Arjuna was crying, that Nayot Seti Govinda Muktva Tushtim Babuvaha, I shall not fight, and he just kept quiet. That time Sanjay says to Dhritarashtra, Prahasan Iva Bharata, to that crying, dejected, frustrated Arjuna, Bhagavan Sri Krishna started talking with a smile on his face. And Bhagavan Krishna was from UP. And you know the people from UP, they have to add E before they say S. So they don't say star, they say Ishtar. They don't say smile, they say Ismail. They don't say station, they say Ishtation. So Bhagavan Sri Krishna, with a smile on his face, he delivered the total message of Bhagavad Gita. See, if Bhagavad Gita message is delivered with a smile on the face, what can justify that we are the student of Bhagavad Gita and all the time serious as if we are being taken to a gallows? No. And this is the simplest technique. So whatever we are doing in our life, do it wholeheartedly, do it cheerfully, and not to get anything in return, but to express your own joy. See the joy of life. See? Like I am talking to you, if I imagine my action of talking to you should improve you, I will be a total failure. Why? Because God has failed to improve you. Will I be able to improve you? It will not happen. Second thing, if I feel I am giving you knowledge and wisdom, you ignorant people, when I was not here, how does it matter? It makes no difference. Therefore, when I am talking to you, where is my attention? Attention must be on the quality of the mind. Before we take up any job, what is the quality of the mind? When the job is being done, what is the quality of the mind? When the job is over, what is the quality of the mind? You know, I remember many years before, in Lucknow, in India, UP, the people are sufficiently lazy, rich people particularly. So winter season, very cold, they will be sleeping below the quilt, and then the barber will come, tuck, 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 he'll open the door and get inside the house. And this man, lazy fellow, rich lazy fellow, is sleeping. Only this much portion of the body, the head, he will bring it out, and then the barber will take, the soap and all that, do the whitewash, and then, like this, and then shave. Then he will turn that side and then he will shave. That's so lazy. I always used to observe, when these barbers are using their razor, how much care they take. After every shave, they take care. Every shave, they take care. Because it is this instrument with which they are working. There was Sunday and many customers in a barber shop, 4 or 5 of them. So what this person did, he has whitewashed all of them, did half. Now they can't go out. They are these are the professional secrets. So he was tied down. And then his son comes. Small son, maybe about 10 years. He says, Dad, you are all alone working. Shall I try? Yes, but I try. Take that razor, but be careful, don't cut your hand, okay? In the jugular rhythm. So when we use the instrument, we take care so much. With mind we come in contact with the world. What care we have taken till date about the quality of our mind. Think. Have we ever worked on this even once in lifetime? For us, because there are thoughts, we are thinkers. It is something like, because there are trees, it is not a garden, it could be a jungle also. And therefore, friends, when we are functioning in this world, Bhagavad Gita clearly tells, keep an eye on the quality of your mind. And what is that quality? In the second chapter, he says, whenever we do anything in life, there are three possibilities. First possibility, either we win or we lose. Second possibility, when we win, we gain. When we lose, we are at a loss. Third possibility, when we gain, we are happy. When we lose, we are miserable. So every action in this world has these three steps: victory, defeat, gain, loss, joy, sorrows. This is how the whole life is. Now the teacher says in Bhagavad Gita, whenever you are functioning in this world, be prepared to accept victory as well as defeat. Friends, it may be easier for somebody to accept the defeat in life, but it is very difficult to digest perpetual success in life. A defeated person may be able to take up that defeat, but perpetual success makes oneself so arrogant and so power intoxicated that he becomes the cause of his own destruction. There was a person, he went to his friend, and his friend was a doctor. So he said, brother, what are you doing? He said, I am a little bit worried. What happened to you? See, my wife, her lottery ticket has won $10,000 or $10 crore. Now my problem is how to tell her. If I tell her that she won that $10 crores lottery ticket, she will not be able to take it and she will collapse. I don't know how to tell her. You don't worry, man, I'll do it. And he goes to her house. Bhabiji, how are you? Please give some tea, coffee and all that. So nice things are going on. And he says, Bhabiji, please tell me, suppose you get a lottery ticket which wins 10 crores of dollars, what will you do? Bhaiya, I will give you half. And she says, I will give you half, he dies. It's very difficult to digest success in life. You know, it is something like what? When you dream, you all must be dreaming. Good dreams never break. Isn't it? Suppose you are going on a motorcycle Honda and some Hondi is sitting behind you in the dream. And you are going, Mere Sapano ki Rani. That dream will never break. And in the same dream, when your motorcycle skids and goes into deep valley, then that dream will break, is it not? In the same manner, where everything is going goody, understand we are caught up in Bhagwan's Maya. Dukha mein sumiran sab kare, sukha mein kare na koi. Unless there is some problem, you don't think of God. Therefore, friends, every difficulty in life is a blessing in disguise. See, friends, then we are really working on our own mind. Otherwise, Konyavasti Sadrusho Maya, who is like me? I don't like this, I don't like this, I. So, let us train ourselves to accept the defeat and victory with equanimity. And this is how the world is made up of. If you look at the world with little cool mind, you will come to know, like the cloth. Cloth is made up of threads which crisscross, is it not?
Yes.
Do the threads in a cloth go only in one direction? Not possible. No, but I want a cloth which is having threads going only in one direction. Then take a rope and hang yourself. Only rope can be made, not the cloth. In the same manner, in this world, these two things coexist. Life, death. Health, disease. Doctor, patient. Husband, wife. In-law, outlaw. This is how the life is. There is no choice. But we imagine, no, there should be only happiness. It is not possible. There cannot be only happiness. There cannot be only riches. See, friends. And once you accept this principle, that the life is, sometimes it is day, sometimes it is night. Sometimes it is cold, sometimes it is hot. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. Sometimes we gain, sometimes we may not gain. Sometimes it is a joy, sometimes it is misery. You see? Like one white person asked me this question somewhere in India. I was attending some function and he came. He said, "Excuse me, you are a Hindu?" I said, "Any objection?" He said, "No, I want to ask you a question." I said, "Ask." The question is, you Hindu people in your marriages, why the girl cries and the boy doesn't cry? What is the reason? I said, that is the only day the girl cries. Rest of the life the boy cries. At this moment, when you are all happy, go within yourself. When you are all happy, that time you tell me, you are man or woman, rich or poor, educated or uneducated, you are only happy. Remaining only happy is this. And why the happiness disappears, Because I is born. So don't allow this I to be born. I is born when we don't accept the things as they are. See? A mother-in-law is born when she does not accept the daughter-in-law as she is. See how we play different roles. Woman as a mother is the best one. Nobody has any doubt about it. The same mother, when she becomes the mother-in-law of the son-in-law, she is better than the mother. It is not out of love for the son-in-law, it is for the sympathy. Poor fellow got caught up. Therefore, there is nothing. Because she knows her own stuff what it was. And the same mother, when she becomes the mother-in-law of the daughter-in-law, Bhadrakali, Mahakali. On the contrary, if you accept the things as they are, you will be absolutely happy in your life. See? And the whole principle is, we remain in the utter present. So, karmanyevadhikaraste, whatever we have to do, we have to do in the present, we have no choice. So do it happily. Don't complain, otherwise don't do it. You must have seen many people, they have got this notion, children particularly. When they come for taking food, I don't like this, I don't like this, and go on eating. They don't eat. See, this is a very simple approach in spiritual life. When we do this thing, the net result will be, we will be at peace with ourselves. A person who is at peace with himself or herself, he alone is at peace with the whole world. Therefore, the problem of our life is non-recognition of the importance of peace of mind. Do not play with your peace of mind. Let the whole world be on fire. Take care of your peace of mind. That is important. And when this becomes the way, then the question comes, no, actually I want to be at peace of mind, but my mind is very disturbed. What should I do? So first principle, stop complaining. Don't complain. One of the most important spiritual practice. Don't complain about anything or anybody. Because when we complain, for the first time somebody may listen, second time may not listen, third time will avoid, fourth time will scold. See? Like when we go to the Lord, every time we have seen all our gods, they have got this mudra. This is not Abhay Mudra, this is to tell enough, kitna mangoge, enough. And if you don't listen, I'll give you one. Therefore, enough of complaining. Accept the world as it is. Life becomes a beautiful place. Our problem is, when it is winter, we don't like cold. When it is rainy season, we don't like rains. When it is summer, we don't like heat. Then what will God do? See? So then He knows, this fellow give him anything, he just complains. He doesn't listen to us. See? So the question comes, yes, we have to maintain equanimity. How do we maintain? The first step, stop complaining. Don't complain about anything to anybody for any reason. No complaint. Why I am telling you? Because we come across so many people. If husband comes and meets me, what will be the topic? How his wife is terrible. There is no other topic. See? And then he will say, Swamiji, other people's wives are so good. Why I am so unlucky? I got such a terrible wife. So what do you want me to do? Improve her? Where you have failed, how will I be successful? Then what do I do? Now start thinking. Spiritual life is, stop blaming others. How do we work on this? How we stop blaming? So we are told, in the last life, you have tortured her. Therefore, in this life, he is taking revenge with interest. But then, I don't remember. You may not remember. The divine computer remembers everything. There is no deleting of the data. Then what should I do now? Now behave properly with her. Then, she has already done number of times Karwa Chauth. She is not going to leave you for next several life. So be careful. The idea is bring your attention to yourself. Don't blame others. Spiritual life is stop blaming others. This is what Arjuna did in the first chapter. He was blaming others. That the Dhritarashtra's putras, Duryodhana, they are bad. We are good. No. A seeker should have his attention on himself, not on the body. Okay? Then the third problem that comes. Actually, I want, but I don't know, my mind is so mad and I am so disgusted, I don't know what should I do. So there are two approaches. One, people go into solid spirituality or they go into liquid spirituality. So when they are frustrated, depressed, dejected, then some go to Gangaji, become Gangadas, some go to Jamunaji, become Jamunadas, some go home and become Devdas. See, that is not the way. So here the teacher tells us, look here, you have to first stop complaining about the world and also stop complaining about your mind. Now work on the mind, don't complain about the mind. Now how do we work on the mind? Here, in the second part of the spiritual life is indicated, working on one's own mind. See? So how do we work on our mind? Very simple technique. Control of mind means what? That we should understand first. What do we mean by control over mind? See? Controlling car is different. Controlling softwares are different. Controlling, by remote control the things at a distance is different. Similarly, controlling mind is different. So what do we mean by controlling mind? We normally misunderstand. Controlling mind means there should not be any thought. No thought. Control. That is not control. See? It is something like, one husband told me, I said, man, how many accidents you have made in your life? So many? Not one accident in my life. Very gratefully he was telling about himself. Wife is nearby to correct him. How can you make accident? You never drive. That is not right. So, when we want to control our mind, what exactly it means? It is not that not having thoughts is control over mind. That is not. If you don't take out the car out of your garage, how can you commit accidents? In the same manner. If you are all the time sleeping, how can you say I got control over the mind? It cannot be right. Then what is control over mind? Please recognize this. Mind is available to us for any job with free will for a required length of time. That freedom is called as control over mind. Control over car means what? Whenever we want, we can increase the speed. Whenever we want, we can stop the speed. Whenever we want, we can turn the direction. If some car is, you apply a brake and it gets applied after half an hour, what will be the condition of that car and the traffic? In the same manner, our mind is unable to stop. It goes in a circle again and again. But why did he say to me like this thing? But why did he say? It goes on like a mantra. Om Namah Shivaya. Why did he say? Why did he say? That is not the way. Therefore, control of mind means, number one, discipline the mind. We have to discipline the mind. And for disciplining the mind, you have to discipline your whole life. Start your day early in the morning. Don't keep on sleeping up to 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and when there is no way out, the nature calls and then you go. No. Start your day early morning. See? Then you will see how our mind makes fool of us. Getting out of sleep is never a problem. Getting out of bed is the problem. See? So when we are out of sleep, and thereafter we keep on the bed like the dosha on the tawa. And suppose it takes 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. We keep on loitering on the bed. During that time, all the energy that we have recharged during the deep sleep, that whole energy is discharged, and then we get up in the morning. Oh God, I have to again go to work. Such a person who does not begin his day in an inspired mode, he cannot have control over the mind. See? Controlling the mind means living every moment with inspiration. We live every moment with perspiration. Oh God, I have to again go to work. Therefore, controlling the mind, start your day in an inspired mode, number one. Second thing, to discipline the mind, we have to be very much committed to whatever we do. Don't do anything half-heartedly in life. Anything that you do. See? If you have to take food cheerfully and wholeheartedly. Enjoy every bite that you take. See? I went to somebody's house, and when I was taking food, I said, Mama, give salt, there's less salt in this one. Then give me achar. I like achar, give that achar. So she gave me and said, Swamiji, my husband never tells me whether there is less salt or less chilies. He just eats like that. I said, look here, I am a human being, I am not a buffalo. Buffaloes don't ask. Human beings ask. Anything that you do in life, enjoy. Don't do it half-heartedly. Otherwise, all of you have come here. Out of all of you, those who were brought here by a lead forcibly, they must be suffering silently. This fellow is not going, and he is becoming hotter and hotter. And stop. On the contrary, those who have come on their own choice and fully getting involved, they will definitely celebrate life. See, friends, a very simple principle. Whatever you do or you don't do it wholeheartedly. We do the things with a hole in the heart. Take food. I don't feel like taking food. Okay, you tell me, give me. And keep on eating. Don't do that. Then the mind will be disciplined. We have to insist. Get involved 100% or 0%. No halfway. Now the third principle of controlling the mind, disciplining the mind. To discipline the mind, we have to give some training. And that training is what you did chanting the Lord's name. See, in chanting the Lord's name, the tabla peti was more than the Lord's name. See? These are only secondary instruments. What is important is His name. So initially, our mind doesn't get control, so we have got so many supports. And then drop them. Then out of so many songs, bhajans, kirtans, come to one. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. No dissimilar thought should pass in between. Go slow. We don't have to write an account. So many times I chanted. No. Find out how much time is at your disposal and go slow. Chanting the Lord's name with a view to control the mind is like eating a chocolate. How do we eat chocolate? Do we put the chocolate in the mouth and then take a glass of water and gulp it? We keep it. We take the taste of it. Our chanting the Lord's name is like taking a Ayurvedic kada. See, when you take this Ayurvedic medicine, they are so bitter. We put in similarly, Om Namah Shivaya, 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 and then mala doesn't end. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. That is not the way. Do whatever, very cool, get fully involved. Then we are working on the mind. See? And the last and the most important point, instead of complaining about the disturbances in the mind, find out who is disturbed. You will come to know husband, brother, father, mother, wife, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, they are disturbed. Man as a man is never disturbed. Thereafter, work on it. Then we control our mind. In this manner, Bhagavad Gita tells through various topics, various verses, how we work on our mind and be at peace with ourselves. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnam